Hello GA artists, and welcome to our next art project video. I really loved seeing all the amazing and adorable dino puppets that you guys created last week. They were excellent and so creative. I saw dinosaurs of all shapes and sizes, and they were absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this week's project just as much, and I can't wait to see the pictures of what you've created. Hopefully I'll be able to put a little video or album together with lots of the different pictures that I'm being sent so that you guys can see what some of your peers and classmates have been creating along with you. So let's talk about this week's project. This week we're going to be creating a project based off of some of nature's beauty. So I thought that we could create a little flower art project. Now, one of the really neat things about this one is this is what we call a low relief project. Low relief is a type of sculpture or 3D art, and it means that while it's created on a piece of flat paper, it pops out from the paper just a little bit. So you can see here our little vase for our flowers, as well as some of the flowers themselves actually pop out from the paper. And what you get is this really neat effect. So you're going to need a couple things for this project. Hopefully you have most of this at home, and remember, just like all of our other projects, you can substitute a lot of the materials I'm using for other things. So what I used was construction paper. So I have a piece of black construction paper as well as different colors for my flowers and for my stem. I used a toilet paper roll or a cut up paper towel roll that maybe you have at home lying around, and I wrapped it with a piece of construction paper. So you're going to need construction paper, white paper, you're going to need some scissors, you're going to need some glue. Either stick glue or liquid glue will work. All right. Now, if you don't have construction paper, that's okay. You can do everything we're doing here with just a piece of white paper and some crayons and markers that you have at home. You can color directly on the paper towel or toilet paper roll instead of covering it with paper. You can draw your flowers onto your paper instead of cutting them out of construction paper, or you can draw them on a piece of white paper and cut those out as well, so that if you'd like to get some of the low relief that we have here, you can do that as well. So remember, if you don't have the same materials as me, it's okay. See what you can come up with to substitute. Get creative, think outside the box. It's what art is all about. So let's talk about how we're going to create this masterpiece.
All right, guys. So once you have your materials, remember, I'm going to be using construction paper and toilet paper roll, glue, scissors, and if you'd like to use markers or crayons or any other coloring and drawing utensils that you have to kind of add to this project, then those would be great. I am going to use a few crayons to decorate some of my construction paper for my holder that I'm going to be wrapping around my toilet paper tube. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose the color that I would like my holder to be. In my case, I'm going to choose a piece of pink paper. So I have my pink paper. I've already cut a little bit out of this. That's why you see a circle there. And then I'm going to choose a color crayon to create a design with. I think in this case, I'm going to choose green. So if you'd like to go ahead and cut out your piece before you start, you can measure and cut that out. I like to just fill in the corner, and then if I need to add more to it later, I can do that. So on my first one that I did, I chose to do little blue polka dots. You can create this however you want. You can do polka dots, stripes, completely up to you. So for this one, I think I'm going to do a couple stripes. So I'm going to start with my green, and I'm just going to color an area in the corner of my paper with a little green stripe. Then I actually think I'm going to choose another color. Let's choose red. I'm gonna make another stripe right below that. Again, this is just me decorating what is going to be for the vase of my flowers. Once you've done this, we're gonna cut it out and glue it down. So go ahead at this point, grab your coloring materials. If you just have a pencil, maybe draw something on it, and go ahead and design your vase. All right, so I think I have enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to test to see if I have enough covered. So to do that, I'm just going to wrap this around. Mine actually connects right around where I stop. It actually is connecting right at the spot that I want it to, which is perfect. If you need to add more, you can. If, however, you have already colored more than you need, that's great. You're just going to cut off what you don't need. All right, so if you'd like to do this with a pencil first and then cut, then that would be great. I like to just go through, use my paper towel, my toilet paper roll as a little measuring tool. And so now I've cut off a little square. What I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to actually be wrapping this around. Now the easiest way to do this is with your glue. For this, I'm going to use liquid glue. If all you have is stick glue, that will work. If you have tape, you could do that as well. So I'm going to do a little line, not a big line of glue, right around the edge, and then I'm going to just add just a small amount of glue. Notice I didn't use a ton. We don't want any puddles. Less is more. If you need to, remember my little rule, dot, dot, not a lot. And then I'm going to stick this down so that the top of the paper and the bottom of the paper line up with my roll. So you can see how it lines up here, lines up at the bottom. And I'm going to simply roll this along that paper all the way through. Once I get it closed up, I'm gonna massage that glue in. Now, mine didn't line up just perfectly. I did not measure out a straight edge, but that's okay. That can be the back side where that wasn't, or I can always cut off a little bit at the bottom. Whatever you want to do is completely up to you. So just massage that glue in and set that aside. Next, I'm going to grab the paper I'm using for the background. I'm going to choose to use black simply because I think that everything will show up really well on this. Again, if you don't have construction paper, a piece of white paper would work perfect. Even a piece of cardboard, like a cardboard box, would be great. All right. I'm going to choose what the back of my roll is going to be. In this case, I'm going to use where the seam is for that paper to hide it. And I'm going to put a nice line of glue all the way down. And simply press it in. Notice I'm putting my fingers into that toilet paper roll. And that's so I can kind of massage that glue into the paper to allow it to stick really well. All right, now that we've done this, I'm going to set it aside. Now comes time to cut different parts of our flower vase and flowers. I'm using green for my stems and my leaves, and then I'm going to choose to use a couple different types of paper for the flowers. Now, if you don't have construction paper, using crayons or markers to just simply draw this onto your paper would be an excellent idea. So for the stems, I'm simply going to cut several very long and very skinny rectangles. If you feel comfortable just cutting those out, you can cut those in strips, or you can use a pencil or marker or crayon and go ahead and draw those first. Now, I'm just going to draw a long vertical line from the top to the bottom of my paper. And this is going to be my rectangles that I'm using for the stems. I do not have to use the entire length of these. I can cut them in half or cut small amounts off. But I am going to go ahead and cut several of those. Now, before I go and cut those out, I'm also going to make several leaves. To do that, I'm going to use a curved line, kind of like a frowny face, and attach another curved line, like a smiley face, to it. It's going to make it look like a little football. And I'm going to make a lot of those. You can make however many leaves that you want. The nice thing about flowers and vases is they're all unique. Some of them have more leaves, some of them have less, some have big flowers, some small flowers, some stems are large, some are skinny, some are thick, completely up to you. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these out. Alright, so now that I have my stems and my leaves cut out, I'm going to start gluing them down. Now, you can pause this video so that you can catch up with me at any point. Please don't feel rushed. That's the really cool thing about these videos is you can start and stop and rewind and fast forward my instructions at any point, unlike in class. All right, so I have my stems. I'm going to choose where I want them to sit, and then I'm going to put a little line of glue. Now, remember, if you don't want the entire length of the stem, cut a little off. Completely up to you how long they are. But I am going to add a little glue onto my stem, and then I'm going to choose a spot, maybe have this one sticking out this way. Maybe I make this next one much shorter. Notice that I'm gluing on the side that has my Sharpie lines or my pencil line. That way we don't see that. Let's have this one here. Maybe use that little piece that I just cut off of that one. Add another stem down here. Now, if you're getting a little bit of glue on your paper like I am, I'd much rather get glue on my paper than my table. That's fine. Glue dries clear. Just be careful not to get anything else too stuck to it that you don't want. So this is going to be another long stem. Stick this one over here. That one's going to be really high up, isn't it? And then I think I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to do something a little different to this one. I'm actually going to take this stem and I'm going to bend it down, almost like my flower is starting to wilt a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the glue to the bottom half, and then see how it turns over like this. So I've got my glue here, it's going to turn over. I need glue on this side, so the front side on the top half. So glue, glue. I'm going to stick this over here, glue down the bottom half, and then bend it over. Now that's glued down. All right. So now I have my stems. Let's add some leaves. So I've got my little pile of leaves. I can add these leaves anywhere I want. I tend to like to add about at least 2 leaves per stem. They don't have to be right next to each other. In fact, sometimes they look really neat if you add some lower, some higher, have some tilted downwards, some tilted upwards. Again, no 2 flowers are alike. So you can make this as neat and as creative as you want. So again, keep adding some of those leaves. Notice that one overlapped that other stem. And that's okay. That's what gives our artwork what we call depth. Makes it look like it's 3-dimensional. And we talked about that a little bit earlier with the fact that this is a low relief art project. All right, this one I'm going to add a third one because I have a couple extra leaves. Maybe add one down here. Oops, I got some glue on my finger. All right, so now that I've got quite a few leaves, it's time to start with the flowers. Now, the flowers, you can create those any way that you like. This would be a great time to go out into your yard, around your house, and see if you can find any different flowers or plants. This would give you a great time to look at real flowers and get some ideas. So you can see on my example, I have several different kinds of flowers. I have some that look like little daisies. I have some that are more rounded. I have some that have these little tiny leaves, kind of like a dandelion. How you make those flowers, the colors, the centers, is completely up to you. So go ahead, take your color paper, any color you want to start with, or your white paper with crayons. Go ahead and draw your flowers out. So I'm going to start by drawing a flower that kind of looks like a little daisy. And to do this, it's what looks like a lot of the letter U's that are connected together with a little circle in the middle, just like that. Okay? Take your time and practice. If you don't like your first one, try it again. Try it as many times as you want until you get something that you like. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to draw a couple different flowers. I have one that looks like a little daisy. I'm going to choose a purple piece of paper. On this one, I'm going to choose to create a flower that's a little bit more rounded. So I'm just creating a wavy line in a circular shape. And I'm going to fill the center with a colorful little center there. Maybe on another piece of paper, I could choose to create a flower that looks a little bit more like a star, more of a pointed petal instead of a rounded petal. So I'd love to see how many different ways, how many different flowers you could come up with. You could come up with some that look like tulips. Another really cool thing to do would be to cut a little piece of paper, just like you see me doing here. And you can even roll the paper around. And the neat thing is you can roll it into different shapes. Like here, by rolling the bottom of it tighter than I am the top, I can create this fun shape. And I could create a little tulip that I could then add to my paper. And I'm actually going to cut the corner off. I think that's going to make it a little easier to get the shape that I'm wanting. Yeah, there we go. So see, and I could add what looks like a little tulip or a little rose to my flowers. So again, choose different kinds of flowers that you want. Draw those out on your colored piece of paper. Maybe choose a different piece of paper, a scrap, or color the center with a different color. On this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and color in the center of it red. Maybe on that red flower that I did. Maybe on this one I want to color orange. Because my paper is red, I'm actually using a yellow crayon to make more of an orange center, or I could just cut out a little yellow circle and glue it down. Completely up to you. Once you've gotten the number of flowers you need to match the number of stems that you have, you're going to cut it out. Remember, when you're cutting these out, to let your hand that's not holding the scissors pivot the paper. It's going to make it a lot easier. So when you get to the end of a petal, stop cutting, pivot your paper around, and then continue to cut around the petal. Stop, pivot your paper, and keep going. You're going to do this over and over until you have all of the flowers you need cut out. All right, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to show you how to put it together once all of your flowers are cut out. All right, so now I have all of the flowers that I need. I have my stem and my vase done, so it's time to attach. Now, you can simply glue these down wherever you want, or if you want them to pop off the paper a little bit, you can bend them. Now, for a flower kind of like this one, kind of looks like a little scrambled egg here, doesn't it? A little fried egg. But for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch with my fingers right in the center, and then I'm going to kind of bend it up. Turn it, bend it a little bit more. What happens by doing that is I'm kind of bending the paper, but I'm leaving the middle of it to glue. So I'm going to choose which one I want this glued on. I think I'm going to put this big one on the top, the tallest one up here. I'm going to put a dot of glue because that's all it takes. A little dot of glue goes a long way. And I'm going to press that flower down. I'm going to press it nice and hard. Then I'm going to choose my next flower with these petals. Just bend those petals up just a little bit. You don't have to fold them, you're just bending. Okay, again, just enough so that they're slightly raised. Choose the petal that I want to put it on. Let's do this one right here. Put a dot of glue, press that flower into it. You're going to do this for each one. Again, if you're wanting them to raise, just bend those petals just a touch, not a lot. Choose where you want it to attach. Put a dot of glue, press it down into it. Now, add this flower. Let's see, we're going to add this one to this one down here, this short one. My flowers here, the blue and the purple, are doing what we call overlapping. That means the purple one is in front of the blue one. That is okay. That's going to allow it to look like it's more three-dimensional. It's going to give it a sense of depth. All right, last flower, glue it down, press into the paper, and you, my friend, are all done. Now, you're done with this, but if you would like to decorate the background, maybe add a table or a design back here, you are more than welcome to get as creative as you want. But as you can see, we have a nice little three-dimensional, low relief flower pot right here. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this project. I can't wait to see what you create. Bye, guys.